Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, today I think it's a time for us to, that's why we're here, to recognize that every human person is unique and has infinite value. They have a dignity that every person, every group, every country has to recognize. But I think we all know there are certain peoples who are valued less than others in this world. We know indigenous people are not valued as fully human. We know immigrants and refugees and asylum applicants, people who are in detention, are not valued as much as some others in this world. And if we look at religious, ethnic, racial minorities, we see that they too are devalued. Through history, we know and in conclusion, but also if we look at history, we know the Jewish people have been valued less than others, Muslim people, really people of color. It's the other that's always valued less than certain groups. But I was right here, Elizabeth Detention Center, that I found out that as much as different groups are valued less, some are not valued at all, period. And that was a person I met here. I'm going to call him Omar. I know a number of you know who I'm talking about, but he asked that his name not be used. But Omar, at least at that time, but I hope it hasn't been exceeded, he was here in detention for over 4 years. And the reason for it was because he was Palestinian. And as a Palestinian person, he really had virtually no rights. He didn't even have the right to be deported, because to get deported, you need a country that's willing to receive you. During his 4 years of detention, the State Department had reached out to 14 different countries in the Middle East and Northern Africa to see if any were willing to accept him. None were. And so Omar, just languished here. And eventually his lawyer said, this can't go on forever. And of course, we know the response of ICE. Well, sure it can. We're allowed to indefinitely detain people. And so the lawyer said, yeah, but indefinite doesn't mean forever. And the ICE people said, oh, no. And so in any case, they went to court, the 3rd District in Philadelphia. And the judge there said, well, to the government lawyer, well, what's your basis for continuing to detain Omar? And they said, well, we're allowed to detain people indefinitely if they pose a threat to the United States, or if we cannot ascertain their identity. So the judge then asked the next question. Well, do you believe Omar poses a threat to the United States? And, in a rare bout of honesty, the lawyer said, well, no. And then the judge's next question was, well, do you feel you don't know who he is? No, we know he's who he said he is. So anyway, the judge says, all right, back to the district court in Newark, let them get rid of this. And of course, a hearing date was set. You remember this, Sally? Hearing date was set, and a few days before the hearing date, when the judge in Newark would release Omar, ICE found a ship in Baltimore that they could deport him on, because it was the same shipping firm that he had stowed away on. And the reason he stowed away, he was in a refugee camp in another country in North Africa. And part of the restrictions, he was not allowed to go to school, he wasn't allowed to work. So after many years, he wound up stowing away on a ship. So in any case, immigration was going to bring him to Baltimore, have him leave the next morning, except someone told the press. And a reporter called ICE, and they said, gee, we understand that there's a hearing set for Omar in the district court in Newark, but you're secretly deporting him by ship from Baltimore. Well, after a few moments of silence, the people caught red-handed, said, oh, that's not true. And of course, that was the end of the deportation. Omar did go to court in a couple days, and the court, issued an order that he be released. Omar, upon release, he had like a dream job. He was a car service driver. And, he'd call me from time, hey, Father, where is such and such a street? Oh, no. I said, well, do you know exactly what building? Well, yeah, it's some building. But in any case, Omar was thrilled. And I would say that now, many years later, he's able to build a life that he had been denied as a Palestinian in a refugee camp in northern Africa, a life that he was denied during years of detention here in Elizabeth. So our battle to recognize the worth of each and every human being, it still goes on. And for, I think, those of us gathered here, we see a future in Israel, in Palestine, if only with people, Arab and Jew, Israeli and Palestinian, would recognize the dignity of the other. Thank you.